Today is engine parts cleaning day. So the question is always asked is, what works best? Well, I figured this is probably the best way to do that. So I've got a whole bunch of different cleaning solutions, and I found myself some old pistons. So I'm going to give this thing a run. So these are old RB30 NA pistons. I didn't clean them with degrees or anything, I didn't wash them. They're still very much oily. They've still got the rings on them. So it's a fair test right across the board. So I've got a whole bunch of products. I'll start with the good old common vinegar. It's vinegar. There's a little bit of scum, surface scum on the surface there. You can just see it popping off. So it's very, very mild. If it's going to do something, it's going to be very gentle, possibly nothing at all. Next is our Glitz, our calcium scale and rust remover. If we look in the side view, it's bubbling away doing stuff, and we can see the blobs of oil on the top, so it's coming along quite nicely. The old gasket stripper, it just comes out pretty, it actually does a pretty decent job without touching it. Obviously I'm not going to fill the tin up with that, but I'll let that soak, and you can see down the bottom it's bubbling and doing things, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Driveway and concrete cleaner. So this is having a fairly decent reaction. There's a nice little bubble of stuff. Side view, it's pretty hard to see in there with the reflections, but you can see bubbles and things happening, so there's chemical reaction. I suspect this is going to do quite well. The good old-fashioned kerosene. So it went in this nice beautiful blue colour, so it's already contaminated with oil and carbon and contaminants from the piston. So I don't know how much that's going to do, but I'll let it soak and see what it does. This is having a fairly serious reaction. The old Blitz, it's an aluminium cleaner. It goes in a really nice pink. And you can see on the side there it's got a very nice trail of aeration and bubbles, which is bringing it all to the surface. I think it's possibly going to be my winner, we'll see. Multi-purpose thinners, not really doing a whole lot. Obviously it went in clear and the first layer of stuff has come off, but after that I don't know, it's probably going to require some scrubbing. And degreaser that everyone's got in their shed of some variation or brand. See how that rolls. So those with sharp eyes will count that there's more than 6 items here, because RB30 is a 6-cylinder. No, this isn't one of those rare breed special U-Butte things. I broke down 2 engines, so I'm going to keep my control untouched, and we'll see how it goes from there. So we're 2 hours in, and we can see we've had some fun over here with the pink one. Didn't see that coming. So vinegar's kind of looks like it's done not much. It may need days. Solution's pretty much the same colour. I don't see any real change. It's still corrosion all over the old crusty rings. Yeah, nah. We'll clean that over here. The Glitz. Now this isn't designed to do this job obviously, so it's doing pretty well already, I'd say. As soon as I can hook it into the gudgeon pin. Where the hole is. Come on. That'll be pop. Certainly doing something there. Interesting to see how it's cleaned around the rings. And the rings are pretty poor on this thing, so interesting to see how that goes in another couple of hours. Come on. Clean my hook. So the gasket stripper. Interesting to see the crown. Yes, it comes. Oh, there's some good sludge in the bottom. To be fair to this, it's not really submerged in it, but you can see where it's washed the sides of it. I dare say if I spray that a few more times, it'll be a lot fairer fight. The sludge in the bottom is moving as I tilt it. So it's certainly cleaning where it's staying. It's also one of the more costly items in the buy list today. Oh, I'll have to do a cost comparison at the end. The concrete clean is done very well. I can see this beautiful roughy looking, soupy looking crap. Hook into this piston. Out you come. Just bear with me while I try and lift it out of this. Try to keep it in the same container. It's certainly doing something pretty decent in there. Lots of the big stuff is floating and moving, so it's lifting it. I'm not going to wipe that yet, I'll clean it at the end. I might give it another hour or so yet. Let's give it a fair go, that way they've all had 3 hours. The kerosene I'd imagine will be doing pretty well. It's gone a lot blacker, I've noticed. Come on, let's go. It's lifted a lot of junk as well. I don't think it's as good as the concrete cleaner. It's a lot nicer to look at though. Rings are still pretty crusty looking. Lots of corrosion around them. Again, I think this one will wash up quite nicely when it's finished. Now this thing, it's gone all over the bench. Really didn't expect that. That's a pretty serious reaction. It's not as discoloured as the concrete clean, so that's quite an interesting. Use my finger here for a second. Oh my goodness, it's like it's stuck to the bottom. It doesn't want to come out. It's just wanting to play hardball. Here we go. Up she comes. It's like bubble bath. Strawberry milkshake bubble bath. So I can see large chunks of black slop coming out with the foam. And I'm guessing, considering how well that's aerated, it's going to do a marvellous job cleaning. I can't see enough at this point. Doesn't appear at this point that it's attacking the piston. I'd imagine too much longer it probably will. I'm going to let this ooze back into there. I'll clean my hooks without cross-contamination in our fluids. What have we got? Thinners. Actually, it's gone quite black as well. I didn't think that would happen. It's nice to be proven wrong sometimes. Don't tell the wife. So the bottom of the piston looks a lot cleaner than it was. Some big chunks in there. Sides still look pretty much untouched, no corrosion moved. Looks pretty much not a lot of difference. It's doing something. It'll be interesting again when we wash it. And then the degreaser. I don't know how well the degreaser will go on the carbon. Come on. Obviously degreaser lists grease and oil and those kind of things. You can see the carbon on the side here is quite thick and quite heavy. You can see the retainer clip is still on one side. Knock the pin out the other side. It might wash up good. Don't know yet. So I might leave it another hour yet. We'll see how she goes then, and we'll go from there. So they've all had 4 hours in solution. I've pulled them out. I've given them a quick hose, so there's been no mechanical attack with rags or high pressure cleaner or anything like that. It's just straight out of solution, straight to the garden hose and back on the bench. So this is just straight fluid chemical reaction only. So there's obviously a lot more left in this. So there's my original test sample piece, still looking nice and crusty. The vinegar, all honesty, doesn't look any different. No solution change, gives away the game. The calcium Scale rust remover has got junk in the tub. Piston is a little bit cleaner. It's a bit cleaner around the sides where they typically get a lot of carbon. Inside's a bit cleaner, but you'll see there it's actually started to attack the piston. So the 4 hours is probably just a bit too long for it. So being an alkaline based, yeah, I don't know if I would go that direction. Next is the gasket stripper, which is cleaned quite well on top. Most of the carbon on top is quite soft. It's cleaned decent inside. The ring pack is quite clean in comparison. The sides that are normally crusty are actually quite clean. It's actually done a really nice job. I was actually quite surprised. The concrete cleaner with the brown soup, well, it's attacked, well, everything. It attacked the carbon first, but now it's gone through and it's attacked the piston. And you can see there, it's really started to eat into it and just chew it up good. So it cleans aluminium really nicely. I certainly wouldn't soak something in there a long period of time, maybe with a brush and, you know, like a motorbike case or something like that. It'd work quite well. You can wash it off fairly quickly. Long-term soaking, not the best idea. Kerosene, the old mechanic's favourite thing. It's taken the junk off. Ring pack is movable. Not the best inside, but still pretty decent. Hasn't attacked the piston because, well, it's a liquid hydrocarbon. It doesn't do that. Next is the Blitz. So I've got junk all over the bench from it, from a big reaction. I've actually mopped some of it up. There's still some carbon on here, but it's soft, so it is washable. Spring pack moves. But inside, it has just attacked the daylights out of this piston. Now, it says in the instructions to, you know, put it on, scrub it, wash it off. Well, this is what happens if you don't listen to the instructions. So it's attacked the piston, so all that reaction is probably just reacting with the bare aluminium that's cleaned enough to attack. So, wouldn't recommend that. Manufacturer might actually know what they're talking about on this one. The good old thinners. So it's left it all soft and powdery. You see that I'm just wiping my finger. It comes off quite easily. Spring pack moves. Sides are relatively clean. Inside's pretty tidy. Of course, it doesn't attack it because it's a liquid hydrocarbon. So yeah, good old general purpose thinners, not bad. Degreaser is not as good. It's not as good as the thinners. Spring pack moves. Not as clean on the outside. Not as clean on the inside, which is commonly available, obviously. So yeah, the thinners is definitely better than the degreaser. So as a basic roundup, my preference, even though it's one of the dearer things, is the gasket stripper. I would avoid all the alkalines. They seem to attack it longer term. So gaskets, in order of preference, gasket stripper, the kerosene, and the thinners. Possibly do a bath of thinners and then maybe gasket stripper if you want to save the stripper because it's dear. That was about 20 bucks a can from memory. That was about 20 bucks. That was about $16. That was $30. So all the alkalines were, in this test, dearer, and they all started to attack the piston in that time frame. So I would probably verge more towards the liquid hydrocarbon ones. And my favourite, actually, which surprised me, is the gasket stripper. Happy days. Thanks, guys.